What's going on, collectors? Welcome into Ross Loves Cards. Today I want to share with you all two different days I had this past week. First day of this week that I want to share with you is Tuesday. My best friend since first grade, he came and picked me up Tuesday morning about 9, and we went card shopping till about 7. I got home at 7 o'clock that night. We went up to Springfield. It's about an hour and a half away from here, and they've got 3 different good-sized card shops. So, anyways, we spent the day just hanging out, looking at card shops and different stuff, and talking the whole way up, talking the whole way back. And we started off, we went to a shop, and I was going to look at Akeem Olajuwon cards. I recently just put all my Akeem cards that I have and need on Google Sheets, so I had it on my phone. So I go and I grab the Akeem quarter box, and I set it on the table, and then, as I sit down, there's 3 cards of this series. Of course, this is Eric Hosmer. I can't tell you who the other 2 people was. I left them lay on the table. But Eric Hosmer, this is a 2012 mini, I guess. I guess they did a series of that. I know in 2022 they did was it a 35-year anniversary or something along those lines? I've got a Bobby Witt of that. But it's nice to add this. 2012, I believe 11 was Hosmer's rookie year, but this 2012, Eric Hosmer. And I also added 22 total Hakeem Olajuwon cards. I bought 23, and one of them I already had. Just hadn't marked it on my list that I'd recently spent hours and hours and hours upon, but I corrected that wrong. Added 22 Hakeem Olajuwons to my list. And I was probably there hour and a half, and my buddy was still just kind of, walking around. And of course, he was going through George Brett and Mizzou stuff, and he's a Royals and Mizzou fan as well. And I do a lap around, and I do see a card that's pretty cool right before I'm getting ready to cash out. It is a bat relic of Bobby Richardson. But anyways, I go ahead and I pay. I think he looked at him and he said $20, and I can't remember with tax. It was like $23, somewhere in there. It's less than $25. I got my 23 Akeem Olajuwon cards and this Eric Hosmer. So we go to the next shop. The next shop, I'm looking at different things. They have a couple of Mahomes rookie cards that I didn't need to be looking at, but I was going to anyways. And they had a fair amount of vintage there at that shop. Just, nothing that I had on my list that, boy, I need to have. And not that I wanted to look at too awful much closer, but I did look at the Mahomes. And the same case that Mahomes was in, they had this Nick Bolton jersey card. Nick Bolton, when he was at Mizzou, he was one of my wife's favorite player of that year, at least. And then he got drafted in the 2nd round, went to the Chiefs. I tell you what, we was excited. And, this first year, I can't remember what his number was. It wasn't 32. But anyways, my wife is 55, maybe 52, 54. And my wife, she said she didn't want Nick Bolton in a 54 jersey. She wanted to be a second or year or past, and wanted a numbered jersey with the 32 on it. So if my wife wants something, I make sure that's what we get. But also something neat about this, AH, that's my wife's initials. So, and it's numbered 147 out of 199. So this is just kind of a card I picked up for her, being generous, letting me go and spend money places. And then, as I was getting ready to pay for that, my buddy, he showed me something behind the counter. And it was this Topps oversized card, 1 of 1. It's not, I'm sure it's not 1 of 1. I'm sure somebody thought that was funny and put that on there. But anyways, Salvi. Got Moustakas back here. I'm guessing that's Moustakas. Who number 8 would be. But anyways, if it was year past, I don't know what year this is pictures from. But got Salvy, number 8, we'll call it Moose here in the background, getting water poured on him. You know, that just brings back good memories. And Salvy in like 2014 and 15, he was always with that water cooler getting people. It didn't have to be a big game, you know, as long as it was a win, somebody was going to get it. But brings back good memories of this. And anyways, I asked that guy, I said, how much is this? And he hollered across the room. He said, hey, how much you want for this? The guy said, well, you can just take it with you. I asked him if he'd take any less, but he wouldn't. But so I got this poster, oversized card, whatever you want to call it, for free. You know, just couldn't believe that. I ain't going to tell you what I'd be willing to pay for that, but it was more than zero. So, kind of got my first card purchase in, if you don't count the others at the other place. We go to our third shop. This third shop is a shop I've been to before. I've never bought anything there in the past. Not that they didn't have stuff I wanted, just didn't have the right card at the right price for me at that time. Probably more of a wallet issue than a card issue. But it's called Centerfield Sports. I believe Billy Ballgame went there, maybe it was this past summer or something. He done a video on it, and anyways, as after he'd mentioned that, I went and checked that out. And me and my buddy went over there, and they recently redone that store, which they'd only been there 6 months, but maybe longer, I don't know. I'm not good with remembering how long. Hadn't been in that store very long, and they remodeled. And they took out one showcase and put it at the other end, and then made like a new stack. Anyways, made a wall vintage section. And the showcase where it was before was moved to the other side, and it had some vintage. I tell you what, I walked in there, I walked up the first case, and they had some type of sparkled up 2004 Yadier Molina. I'll post it here if I can get a good picture. But I tell you what, I really like that card. And then I looked a little bit further, and underneath that, there was a 53 Satchel Paige. And I think that card was like a 2.5, and they was asking $1,000 for it. So anyways, I went around the other side, and I was looking at the wall, and there's taking care of some guys, so I went ahead and kind of done another look around, seeing what else they had, and kept coming back to the same wall and the same cards, and asked him to pull those cards for me. And he brought them around, and I'll tell you what, I bought both of them. First, I'm going to show you the first one I got. 1953 Bowman, Roy Campanella. This is in a PSA 3. It is not perfectly centered, but for 53 Bowman, for me, that's centered enough. I tell you what, it's a great looking card, I think. What I did love about this write-up is how it starts out. It names him the Stocky Catcher. Okay, it's just saying the Stocky Catcher, that was him. But that'd been a cool nickname, Stocky Catcher. But anyways, the Stocky Catcher was the National League's most valuable MVP player in 1951. And guess what? At the end of this year, he would receive the same award. So, really pleased. That's going to go in my Bowman Dodger run that I'm doing. Getting me one card closer to that. And another card. This is the first card that I have of this player. And I tell you what, I'm pretty pleased with it. It is, I'll just go ahead and show it. Y'all have probably already seen it in the thumbnail. I think, Ross, don't be trying to be suspenseful on me. I'm not, I'm just slow. But this 1959 Topps Stan Musial. This is my first Stan the Man card. When I seen that card, I thought, you know what? It's got fairly decent centering, but I love that blue color. You know, these 59 cards, the more of them I get, the more I like of them. I've got a few, not a whole lot, but I do have a few. But this made me actually put a few more on my list of cards to get. And this is actually this card's going to go in my Ross Loves Cards Dream Binder. You know, for me, he's got my two favorite cards for him is the 1952 Bowman and this 59. Now, I'm not saying the other cards are bad, but those are just my two favorite. I was going to go with the 52 Bowman, but, you know, sometimes you see a card in a shop, the more you look at it, the more you want it. I don't know if you all ever do this. I seen it and I got all excited about it. You know, I went ahead and got my cash out and paid cash for it, so got a little bit of break from that. But so I got my cash out, paid for it. I asked for a bag. I didn't want it getting the sunlight on the way out to the car. So he put it in a bag for me. We go out to the truck and get my buddy's truck and sitting there. Before he gets it in reverse, I've got it out looking at it again. And I thought, you know what? I was so shook up. I didn't really look at that card that much. I mean, I did. I was doing nothing but looking at it, but I just kind of got taken away with them thinking, yeah, that's coming home with me. But luckily, the closer I looked at it, the longer I looked at it, I still liked it. Same thing with my 53 Campy. Then me and my buddy, we went to dinner. Sounds like a date. You know, we just went to go eat. But we went and ate lunch at Cheddar's on opposite ends of the table. And then we went to Target. My buddy, he's buying mainly new packs, new boxes and stuff. And you know what? New cards, I kind of like them. You know, I haven't bought into them any. But we go over there for him. And anyways, they only let you buy so many per customer. And he said, well, here, I'll buy 2 of these, and if you'll buy this one, I'll pay you back. I'll go get you cash. So I'm doing some thinking here. And I say, okay. So I've got something worked in my mind. And these deals was $40. They's $39.99. So I go through Target. Oh, I also did get my kids 2 bobbleheads. I got a Patrick Mahomes and a Travis Kelce bobblehead for them from Target. $15 a piece or something. Anyways. So I've got my family covered on gifts. Got that. Got this $40 box for my buddy. And so my total was like $75 going out the door. But as we're walking to the truck, I was talking to him. And I said, hey, how about we go back to that other card shop we went to first? And I said, instead of you giving me $40 cash, how about you just buy me that $40 card that I was wanting? And you know what? That's what we did. Here is a Bobby Richardson Legacy something lumber. Legacy Jumbo Lumber. But anyways, I paid $40 for this card. It was a relic bat, had a signature. It's 10 of 25. You know what? I probably overpaid this. I didn't know how to look for comps on this. Not great at that. You know, I didn't even look it up. I just thought, you know what? $40. It's worth that to me. Having his signature. Now I know he's still doing TTM. I don't do TTM, but being able to add this to my collection. Did I say Bobby Thompson? I meant Bobby Richardson. Bobby Richardson. Nothing wrong with me. Bobby Richardson. Bobby Richardson is the man that led Mantle to Christ. You know, I think a lot of Bobby Richardson, and I'm just glad to have this in my collection. But relic bat and auto, numbered 10 out of 25. And anyways, we're on the way home, and my buddy, we was talking, and you know, like I said, he bought new boxes and stuff the whole way home. I said, you know, Walmart up there, there's a Walmart up here at Mountain Grove, which is about halfway. We can stop in, check the cards there. And I kind of laughed, said, you know, I was just kidding. He said, I'm not. We'll go there. So we go there. He buys a fair amount more there. But I do buy my first baseball pack in probably 5 years. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to retire off of these cards. But they are a fun card. They've got some, of course, they've got modern players. They've got relics. Not relics. Well, I'm sure they do. I didn't pull one. They've got miniature cards, which I think's kind of cool. Here's a Johnny Bench little miniature card. And I also pulled this Walter Johnson. I told Jayhawker, as long as I don't forget to bring that to Strongsville, I'll save that back for him. So I have good intentions on that, Mike, as long as I don't forget. Oh, I forgot. At that place where I picked up this Bobby Richardson, I also picked up a bobblehead. I didn't know this ever existed. This is a Bill Virdon bobblehead. 1955 NL Rookie of the Year, Bill Virdon. You know, I think it was his first 2 years, well, his first two cards, the 55 Bowman and the 56 Topps was Cardinals. So anyways, I've got this Cardinal bobblehead. I'm trying to think. I guess my boy did buy an Iron Man Cardinal one, but that's my, well, it's one of my bobbleheads that's now in my collection. So out of that whole day, I spent probably $320, $325. I had good intentions on not spending much, just going and looking, having a good time. Maybe hit that quarter box. I didn't know there was a quarter at the time. But I thought I might go through there and just see what other vintage places have and just kind of look and stuff. But, you know, me and my wife should have known better. When I left West Plains with $400 cash, you know, I'm probably going to find some cards that fit my needs. I don't know about you all. I've heard some people say they can go to a show and not spend their full amount. And I came back from Boonville that one time. I think I came back with $5. And when I went to St. Louis and met Mike, and Mike Baseball Collector was there, and Chris from Missouri, and Joe Redneck Collector. And anyways, that trip with Jayhawker Mike, I took $250 with me, and I wound up buying a $260 card after borrowing some money off Mike. So I'm going to have to get better about that, and we'll see how I do at Strongsville. But that was Tuesday. Now I want to share with you all about today. And this may be a little bit longer video than you all are used to with me, but it's all good stuff, I promise. It'll be worth sticking around. I went to my local card shop today, and I went and picked up some cards. They had a 10-cent box. I picked 10 cards out. Now, most of these in here, maybe a player or two that I like, maybe a card or two I think my girl would like or my boy would like. Sometimes I'll just pick up cards for like rewards for them and hide them back, and then they better not watch my YouTube video or they'll figure this out. But if they do something good or something we're proud of them for, I'll treat them with a ball card that I've got saved back. So anyways, there were 7 in here, but I bought $1 worth. And that $1 worth I also got to add to my Akeem collection. So I got that card. As a 2000 Fleer Legacy. And 1992, I've got the standard version of this card, but I think it's a different version. But I know I didn't have this 15,000 point club. So I picked that up. And also in the 10-cent box was Michael Porter Jr. Now this guy, he played 1 year at Mizzou. Okay, let's be real. I think he got hurt in a exhibition game with Kansas, and he missed all the way to the end of the year. I can't remember if they played him in the tournament or not, but he hadn't played basketball all year. I went to a game and I got to see him on the bench. I did get to see his brother playing. So, anyways, he wanted to go to Mizzou. His aunt coached at Mizzou. His mom and dad went there. So, Michael Porter Jr. Let me see what else I got here. Sorry about that. Then I stepped up to the, I guess it was $3 card box or 5 for $10. And I bought $20 worth. And so anyways, first one, I got this for my girl, Miesha Tate. Now, if you don't remember Miesha Tate, she was one of the champions. When they started introducing women to the UFC, they had Ultimate Fighter. It was her and Ronda Rousey. I think Ronda Rousey won the first one. Maybe she won the second one. But anyways, UFC fighter. And that may be a weird gift to get for my girl. I actually thought about getting it for my boy because his name's Tate and her last name's Tate. But after talking with my wife, she's like, she likes to watch fights with you. And, she's kind of into that. So I got her first UFC card. Then we have Ahmad Hardy, Mizzou running back that's coming back next year. Hopefully we'll set some more records. He'll be a junior next year. Caden Lee, receiver from Ole Miss. He is coming to Mizzou next year, along with their former starting quarterback. Here's a guy I mentioned earlier, Eric Hosmer. This 2018, I guess. In 2018, Eric Hosmer. I picked that up. It's always good to get a Royal. And I stayed with that. I got an Allen and Ginter rookie card. You see the smaller version of it, of Pasquatch. I was going to try to say his name, but I'm not going to. Let me see here what else. Here. Well, if my hands would work, I was trying to show you one more Mizzou player, and I'll be done. Kobe Brown. This is his rookie refractor. I do have a pink signed ice, one of him. But anyways, if Mizzou player's there for $2, I'll pick him up if I don't have that particular card. A card also I picked up was this Mike Piazza. Crash the Game from Collector's Choice. Now, this is like a redemption card. You'd send that in. My sleeve things, the adhesive was on there wrong, so I've taped these. So, anyways, you'd send this in, they'd send you another card. But why I bought this, I told you before, I used to like his name. And if there wasn't so much refractors and everything on it, well, anyways, it says right here on the side, June 27th and through the 30th. My birthday's June 27th, so I thought, hey, I've got to pick a Mike Piazza card with my birthday on it. Next, I'll show you, and I really like this card. It is an Alex Gordon. Let me see what year, I'm sorry. 2018 Alex Gordon, maybe. Royals. I like the looks of this card. I first thought it was a Topps Heritage. I don't know much about newer cards, but I like the looks of Topps Heritage. But it's not. It's Topps. It's got this cap that says Outfielder Royals. I like the stand-up hat down here, with his name. The gray border outline. And I didn't recognize this till we got it home, but it is numbered 41 out of 99. So, for a $2 card, I was tickled with that. Also, I got this Ryan Sandberg, the Sports Flicks, and you can kind of see the movement there. Maybe not. Okay. Look at that. It's like magic. But anyways, Also, it's second baseman, Chicago Cubs. I thought that was cool. I'd never noticed them before. But I like these cards. I think they're cool. And last but not least, bought this card. 92 Kirby Puckett. If I would have I think this was 92. Yeah. If I would have pulled this out of the pack in 92, Kirby Puckett might have been my favorite player. I never pulled this growing up, you know. That's just an awesome card. Normal sized bat there for a normal sized man. But Kirby Puckett, $2 with the big bat. Can't go wrong there. I wound up going ahead and buying some top loaders, like 100 top loaders, and a thing of penny sleeves. But I shared with you all 2 days. You know, the one day I spent $300, we'll say. I'll tell my wife that, but no, spent $325 that day. And I spent, 10 hours with my best friend, going, looking at cards, talking about life, talking about cards, just whatever. Talking about sports, things that irritate us, things that don't irritate us. Just spending the day with him. We also went to Bass Pro for a little bit. Of course, I'm not very mobile, so he, have to slow down and wait for me. He may just take off. And I done a lot more sitting than he did, maybe, but we just spent a day, card shops, looking at cards, spending time together. This morning, I went to the card shop. My wife called at one point in time, and I looked, and I wasn't there 2 hours, but it was over an hour. She called. I had to go pick up my girl at daycare. So anyways, but, I spent an hour and a half in there, and $30 talking with a guy that works at the card shop, a guy that I went to high school with that I've seen maybe 2 or 3 times since then. He was in there. We's talking cards about what we collect, what we like, what we don't. Don't get me wrong. Today wasn't near the day I had the other day. It's hard to replace 10 hours, with a great friend and picking up, I don't want to, well, I guess this one I can say is a dream card. It is in my dream card binder. Picking up these cards. That was a great day for me. One of my bigger hobby collecting days. Yeah, I've spent more money in one day than that, and more money on one card than that a couple times, but, well, more than a couple. But anyways, but I spent a lot of money for me, $325 that day. Spent a lot of money, got a lot of cards, had a lot of fun. 2 days later, I spent $30 at the card shop, and like I said, a good portion of that was for supplies. I don't know how much it was, but spent $27, taxes and all. And I got some cool cards. I got some cards that I get to share with my kids, or I got some cards that I get to add to my Akeem Olajuwon collection or my Mizzou collection. And, I'm not going to say I love them as much as the other expensive cards, but today was a special day for me. I do love these cards. And I got to thinking about this, as long as we are loving the cards we get, that's all that matters. I got to thinking, and it just kind of hit me. If you can't afford the cards that you love the cards that you can afford. If you can only afford, this 10-cent Akeem Olajuwon, that's great. Afford it, love it. Or maybe you got 2 dimes and you can get 2 10-cent Akeem Olajuwons. I actually got 3 other Akeem Olajuwons, but 2 of them was modern and post-playing days. And one of them I already had, so I got that one for my boy. But 50 cents. I got 5 Akeem Olajuwon cards that I'll get to love 2 of them in my collection, and I'll get to love giving them 3 of them to my kids. You know, I might say, well, how you going to give 3 cards to 2 kids? Just see who's the toughest between them. Just throw it in between them, see who wins. I'm just kidding there. But seriously, it doesn't take a lot of money to get out there and enjoy cards. I could have spent $1 in that shop today in an hour. You know what? I wasn't bothering nobody. I was just sitting there hanging out, talking cards, having time, you know, meeting and conversating with people that I hadn't seen in years. It's just a great hobby day, just as it was 2 days ago. So, I just wanted to get out here and share about my 2 days. One was expensive. Well, one's expensive for me. One was not as expensive for me. And just love them both, you know. Like I said, if you can't afford the cards that you love, then love the cards you can afford. Hope you all are out there finding your cards that you love. We'll talk to you all the next one. See ya.